Hi, this is Editor's Take. I'm Sakshi Batra and I have with me Gaurav Choudhury, Deputy Executive Editor of Moneycontrol. And today we are going to be talking about the retail inflation data that has been released by the government. Thanks very much, Gaurav, for joining me in this space. Now, first of all, the retail inflation or the CPI inflation numbers have cooled off for the month of October, 3.31% as compared to 3.7% recorded in September. What has really led to this cooling off?
So we'll have to break it down into two parts. One, there has been contraction. The prices have actually fallen in food by some margin. So pulses prices have come down, food prices have come down, and all the major components of food price index have come down. What does it mean? It means that one, the MSP prices, which was raised and was supposed to kick in from October, hasn't really reached the farmers. That is one. This is one indication of that. And two, the second important part of this inflation data is what is called core inflation, which is non-food, non-fuel inflation. It remains sticky at about 6.1%. That may not be a good sign.
Absolutely. So this is what I was coming to. Now that the core inflation is up above 6%, how do you really read the headline inflation number of 3.31%, and what are the really risks that are associated with core inflation?
Yeah, so the core inflation is actually the inflation that is affecting households essentially in the urban areas and towns and cities. And this is the stickiness in core inflation has primarily come because of high services costs, and this is because of high commodity costs, essentially crude oil costs, which is translating into high, say for instance, transport costs, or communication costs, or health costs, etc. And this is going to remain high for some time to come. That's not really good news so far as cost of living is concerned. While the headline number of consumer price index might be slowing down considerably, cost of living is not coming down, and that is showing up in core inflation. That is something that we need to really think about. While over the next 2 months or so, there will be a favorable base effect, and we can still see the headline numbers coming down significantly in the next 2 months, but that could be masking a very high cost of living that could be affecting urban households.
Right, and you did point out about the MSP on Kharif crops. Now that hasn't really had any adverse impact on the headline number as well. Do you going forward expect some inflation numbers to have that trickling in?
So as we know, MSP on 14 summer sown crops were raised by 1.5 times, and we are expecting that to show up in the October numbers because this is the harvest season. Probably we have to wait until the November numbers are released sometime next month, but until then we would not be able to know the real impact of higher MSP on food inflation. But having said that, even if the higher MSP cost actually show up in food prices, it may not show up in the inflation numbers as put out by the government through this index because of a base effect. So I expect from Jan to March the headline numbers to actually go up because the favorable base effect will wear off, and I wouldn't be surprised by March if the CPI inflation reaches around 4.5%.
All right, but for now, if you see the headline number is below the medium-term target of the RBI, which is 4%. So going forward in December policy, what do you expect RBI to do in terms of rates?
No, I do not expect RBI to raise rates because RBI is going to see through the headline numbers. It's going to go through the price numbers, the inflation numbers with a finer tooth comb than than people like us are doing. And I would expect the RBI to actually be a little worried about high services inflation, which is showing up in the core inflation. I don't expect the RBI to actually raise rates in the December quarter, also because there is a known unknown regarding crude prices. We do not know which way it's going to behave.
Absolutely. Thanks very much then, Gaurav, for sharing all that insight. Well, the headline number may be below, but core inflation is up about 6%, and there are risks associated with it. And definitely, as Gaurav pointed out, between January to March, we may be able to see even the headline numbers go up and inch up above 4%. And for now, the RBI is not expected to actually go ahead and raise rates in the December policy. Thanks very much for joining us in this edition of Editor's Take, and do stay logged on to moneycontrol.com for more news and updates. Thanks for watching.